Hey, how y'all doing? It's Mongo. So, I want to do a quick NXT video, and instead of talking about the entire show, I like to poke out segments here and there that I really liked, or didn't like, and I can't even do that here because this is a couple of weeks of things that the Undisputed Era, I'm not feeling it anymore. I think the steam is leaving Undisputed Era. Uh, they seem rudderless. Like when they got all the titles, that was good. That was cool. And then it kind of plateaued. There was no, I mean, there was challengers for Adam Cole, and there was challengers for the tag team titles, and there was challengers for the North American title. But it seemed like they were de-emphasized once they got all the titles, and then it shifted over to the women, and now the women get a lot of time, and they get most of the emphasis. So the men's, I mean, not to say that Adam Cole doesn't get a lot of time, but they feel like an afterthought. They don't even really appear until 9 o'clock now, which is fine. I guess you want to save your most important guys for the latter half of the show, so that's cool. But mostly what they've been doing now is either the Undisputed Era being bullies and jumping people, or the Undisputed Era are the Three Stooges, well, Four Stooges, and they just get knocked around by everybody. And that's really what they've been doing since Survivor Series, where the Undisputed Era looked really strong going into Survivor Series. Obviously, NXT won the Survivor Series, and Undisputed Era was riding high. Everything was great. They started hitting a couple of speed bumps when it became kind of clear that Tommaso Ciampa was going to be the one facing Adam Cole. Things slowed down because they had to prepare for Portland, and then there was some that little detour where Adam Cole was feuding with well, he had the match with Finn Balor, and then there was the whole War Games thing. Well, the War Games thing was before Survivor Series, I think. So you had all that stuff going on. But since sort of January, it's just kind of been Undisputed Era getting tossed around by Keith Lee, or, being bounced off each other by Tommaso Ciampa. And they have not looked strong. I mean, they pretty much lost to, 4-on-3 to Imperium at Worlds Collide, and which is not a problem. I mean, eventually the group has to show chinks in their armor. They have to show weakness in order for there to be a story told. But I also think that part of the weakness of the Undisputed Era is that outside of Adam Cole, there are no individual personalities in the Undisputed Era. We need to, something needs to break up the monotony. Everything seems to be the same shit with them all the time. They're just attacking people, and then they make other people look good by taking crazy bumps. Or like last week, I think it was, with Tommaso Ciampa laid out everybody and then put Adam Cole through a table. In a segment that was absolutely fantastic, where he puts his blood on the contract to seal the match with Adam Cole. That was great. Some of the stuff they did tonight was not particularly cool. They came back looking for Tommaso Ciampa. They bullied some people in the back, one of which was Kushida, who they put in the garbage. And then, like, this really kind of pissed me off because Kushida is kind of important, and he was a guy who was literally thrown in the trash, and then he didn't come back out later. I would have been okay with it if Kushida would have came back out with the Broserweights and with Tommaso Ciampa to fight Undisputed Era, but he didn't. He just didn't come back at all. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I guess you figure out how they feel about Kushida right now. He just threw him in the trash, and that was it. Maybe he'll get his come up, and he'll fight them later. Maybe he'll fight one of them next week. But it seemed to me like we're just in a circle where they're just going to jump people and then be beaten up and then knocked around and then put in these 8-man tag or 6-man tag team matches where nobody gets a chance to be an individual except Adam Cole because he's the champion. But you know, tonight would have been a perfect opportunity to do Bobby Fish versus Matt Riddle or something like that, or Kyle O'Reilly versus Matt Riddle. Even when it comes to wrestling singularly, Roderick Strong is like zucchini. You know, he just picks up whatever flavor that you put around him. Like, he's really good as far as being a wrestler is concerned, but he doesn't have an individual personality. So he's just kind of the guy where if you make him the champion, he's just the champion. If you put him in Undisputed Era, he's just an Undisputed Era. And he doesn't have a distinct personality. And if the purpose of me making this video is that I think we're seeing the end of the Undisputed Era, as far as they're going to go down kicking and screaming, because eventually I'm pretty sure Tommaso Ciampa is going to win the title back in Portland, and probably by May, Undisputed Era is going to be either on Raw or SmackDown. More than likely, they're going to be on Raw. Okay, so they're on their way out. They're on their way out, and yes, that makes sense. That you're gonna move these guys eventually, but you have to develop them individually first, because right now you have a Heart Foundation situation, a Rockers situation, you have a Shield situation where one guy is the star and everybody and the other guy or the other guys are just there and they have to reinvent themselves afterwards. In other words, expect Adam Cole to keep Undisputed Era's hand signal, all of their gimmicks, and which includes their theme music, their t-shirts, just Adam Cole is going to keep all of that. Everybody else is going to have to do something different. So they might as well start doing something different now. Okay? And you can't say this not going to happen or this doesn't happen. Okay, Bret Hart kept the Hart Foundation theme music, the jackets, the pink, everything. Bret kept it. Jim got nothing. Jim didn't get shit. Marty Jannetty got to keep the Rockers theme. He got to keep the tassels and all that stuff they were doing. Shawn had to reinvent himself. That actually worked, by the way. Roman Reigns got to keep the Shield theme song, and he got to keep the Shield gear and all that stuff. But for the most part, Ambrose and Rollins had to reinvent themselves. The Wyatt family, same thing. So expect a similar thing here for Undisputed Era, where pretty much this is a vehicle to push Adam Cole. Not to do anything with Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, or Roderick Strong. No matter how good they are. This is a vehicle for Adam Cole. Because he's a smaller guy, it makes sense. He's probably about 5'7", maybe 5'9", but probably closer to 5'7". So he needs a lot of smaller, other guys with him. They can't all be giants to make him look interesting and tough and cool. But I think that we're nearing the end. And I think that the last gasp is going to be at Portland. Maybe not at Portland directly, but probably not too far after. I think by WrestleMania, you're probably going to start seeing Undisputed Era fall apart. They might even start feuding with each other. They teased breaking up before when Roderick Strong was considered sort of the weaker member of the team. I liked that. I thought it was a little too early, but I did like that because it was going to put something different onto Roderick Strong. It was going to make him stand out as the guy who's, even if he's the weak link, it's something. It's not just he's just as good as everybody else. He's a good wrestler, and good wrestler do good wrestling. That's bland. That's wet bread, So tonight they painted Tommaso Ciampa's back, and Velveteen Dream returned, which was absolutely awesome. A lot of people thought it was going to be Killer Cross that was going to be debuting. Killer Cross did a good job of actually promoting it, actually like it would be him, even though it wouldn't have made any sense anyway. But now we see why Kushida didn't come back, because everybody had a dance partner. From Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly were fighting the Broserweights, which was Dunn and Riddle. And Riddle is cringe, by the way. I'm just gonna say it now, because it doesn't merit doing a whole different video. But the promo tonight and the way that they've been putting together this Dunn Riddle thing has really made Riddle seem uncool. And I don't know if that's on purpose. Maybe it's a punishment for all the shit he's been doing with Goldberg and Lesnar. But he looks really lame. Like, he's really fucking cringe. The whole Bobby Fish thing that he was doing was really cringe. He's a good wrestler. And I like the logo that they have for Matt Riddle. That logo is badass. But he's a guy who without much to say. So he doesn't have much to say, so they're going to start giving him stupid shit to say. And tonight they gave him, quite frankly, probably one of the worst promos ever. And then they keep doing all the weed references, and it's like, well, he doesn't have a personality outside of weed guy, and that's not going to work. I'm sorry, that's just not going to work on the main roster. It's not going to work in NXT. I mean, it works in NXT because everybody's bred, but on the main roster, you end up as Matty R, or some stupid like that. You end up being the Stallion or something, like some stupid shit like that. And then people say, oh, well, you're being ruined. It's like, well, you didn't take any time to develop an individual personality, outside of being goofy weed dude. And that's a comedy gimmick. And I know that, well, I was a tough MMA fighter. It's like, yeah, that's cool, but people can't see you tough MMA fighter. They see you as comedy weed dude. So do comedy weed guy. And he needs to break out of that. So whatever, they're probably going to try to do more of that. They need to stop it. They actually need to turn Matt Riddle heel. I know he's been a babyface since he came to NXT. I don't think the Broserweights are going to win the titles. I think they're going to lose. But because I just don't really see why Dunn and Riddle need the tag team titles. I just don't see the purpose of it. But if they were to win, that would be weird. And that would actually cement that they really have nothing to do with Matt Riddle right now. But Riddle is real cringy. He's exceptionally cringy right now. And Pete Dunne has been cringy for a while. The crazy punching spots, I don't like it. They're very good guys as far as Matt wrestling is concerned, but they're out of their element, cutting a lot of promos and trying to be funny. Even if it's humorous, it's still cringy. But this is not an NXT review. This is a discussion of the Undisputed Era. But so Velveteen Dream comes back. He's got Marina Shafir on his tights, like old Ravishing Rick Rude, and he got Call Me Marina on the back of his tights, which is the name of Roderick Strong's wife. I like this. When Roderick Strong was a solo act before Adam Cole came along to NXT, they told the story. They told Roderick Strong's life story, and this is kind of where they introduced Marina Shafir. This was before, I think it was before Shayna Baszler showed up in NXT, and before they started doing the horsewomen on NXT. And it's a really cool story. Like his life was insane, and he was still bred after that, because the man just does not have personality, but it made an engaging story for him to feud with somebody like Robert Roode, who he was feuding with at the time. And you should have known that Roderick Strong was never going to be the NXT champion when he didn't win the title then, because they had really talked about the crime situation with I think his mom murdered his dad or killed his dad in self-defense or something like that. It was really ugly. And he talked about how pro wrestling saved his life and how much he loved his family, and he was doing all this for his kids, and it was really touching, and it made him seem like a real down-to-earth guy. But after that, he just lost. He just kind of lost to Robert Roode, and that was it. Like he hasn't done anything else by himself. He was the North American champion, and he had good matches, but what else really did he do? He didn't really do anything. And so now we're going back to that, because now the Velveteen Dream is going to tap into that vein, that family vein, which is very personal for Roderick Strong, which is going to individualize Roderick Strong in this feud. So now it's not Velveteen Dream feuding with Undisputed Era, and since Adam Cole has a match, and since Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly have a match, well, there's nobody for him to fight except Roderick Strong. He is intentionally antagonizing Roderick Strong. Like that's his target. That's the guy he's after. Mainly, and they probably gonna do the thing where Roderick Strong was the one who injured him and all that stuff. And I love that. I love everything about this, with the exception of, again, Undisputed Era being knocked around like the Three Stooges every week, or them bullying guys like Kushida, who should be able to fight back. And I'm okay with these loose coalitions of baby faces like Riddle and Dunn and Ciampa, and occasionally Johnny Gargano wants to come out there and all this stuff. And we need a kind of cohesive unit of baby faces to fight them. And I think that War Games, of course, showed that there was a cohesive unit of baby faces willing to fight them. And then that cohesive unit dissipated and went away, but Undisputed Era didn't go anywhere. So it's like you won a match, but you didn't really cut the head off the snake, But I think that Adam Cole losing the title, and then ultimately losing the rematch, is going to be the end. Because by then, they probably would have dropped the tag team titles too. And then they're probably going to... I don't think they're going to break them up in the draft. So I don't think Adam Cole is going to go to Raw and everybody else is going to SmackDown. If they do that, then you're talking about Red Dragon probably being the tag team and Roderick Strong being dead in the goddamn water. Or probably being stuck in NXT. Which might be better for him, because it's a place where he can just be bred and still get a lot of reactions and stuff like that. But I think that they're going to do Undisputed Era sort of similar to how they were doing it in NXT, just doing it on a bigger stage. Just going to do it on Raw, or just going to do it on SmackDown. And that's fine with me. That works. Just send all four of them to SmackDown, or send all four of them to Raw. You take your guys like your Apollo Cruzes and your Shorty G's and all them guys, you just send them, and your Mustafa Ali's, you send them back to NXT, and let them get some more seasoning, and that works out for me. But I do think this is near the end of the Undisputed Era's run, and I think it's been a good run. It's risky because really it's the top thing that they've been pushing, that the Triple H Shawn Michaels, since the USA, they've been brought up to USA. It's been the number one thing they've been pushing, has been the Undisputed Era, and they kind of had to take one of the titles off of them because Keith Lee has gotten hot, and he's gotten. I'm trying not to turn this into an NXT review, but I don't like the Dijak Lee match. I don't like it. I just think they've had too many matches. Dijak is bred. He's just a big guy who does flips. It's like, who cares? But again, I'm digressing. Undisputed Era is about done. And I think that it kind of needs to be done because they have run out of things to say. They have run out of things to do. It needs to be fresh. And Tommaso Ciampa is white. He's not quite white hot, but they're trying to get him to the point where he's hot enough to take the title. And I think that, Ciampa's a guy who is an NXT lifer. Okay. Him and Johnny Gargano have said they're not leaving NXT. Finn Balor prefers to be in NXT, so he'll probably be down there for a little while longer. But Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano are lifers. They're not going anywhere. So I believe that Ciampa's going to win the title and basically shuffle NXT, Undisputed Era away. He's going to be doing a run him out of town. Who's going to end up fighting him after that? Who the hell knows? Maybe Killer Cross. But we're seeing the last days of the Undisputed Era. So enjoy it. But I don't want them to watch them get knocked around like the Three Stooges, or to, look goofy and because look, Tommaso Ciampa is not that big of a guy, right? 1-on-1, he can pretty much take, Fish probably couldn't take him, but it would be tough. O'Reilly would be tough. You know, Cole is not the tough guy in the group, but you know, O'Reilly or Strong by themselves would be able to handle or hang with Tommaso Ciampa. So the idea of him just laying out all four of them, even with a metal pipe, just seemed like really over the top. And then for him to tell Adam Cole, I want to put you through this table and then do it. I mean, that's badass for Tommaso Ciampa, but it makes Adam Cole look like a fucking goofball. Because, you know, why would he give him the opportunity to get put through a table? Like the moment he had the table, Adam Cole should have powdered and disappeared. And then, you know, came back with his boys the next week, like, you know, okay, now we're gonna crack hits, which is kind of what they did, except for, you know, they actually went through with the whole Tommaso Ciampa putting his hands on Adam Cole. And I am a firm believer in you blow away heat every time you touch your opponent. You know, it's an old school wrestling thing where heels and babyfaces shouldn't have too much contact. And at the moment that they make too much contact, you blow away heat. You know, now because the point is you want to see the babyface beat up the heel. But if the babyface is beating up the heel every damn week, then what are you paying to see? You're paying to see a pinfall. That's pretty much it, and that's not really enough. Like I don't like the idea of Velveteen Dream coming back and beating up all of Undisputed Era by himself. Like, I mean, I get it. You want to sell that he's a badass, but it would have been better if Roderick Strong was the only one still standing, and then Velveteen Dream showed up and Roderick Strong powdered. He got the hell out of there. You know, he didn't fight him. He just saw Velveteen Dream. He was surprised. He ran. And now they're like, okay, well, he's going to fight him at Portland, so he can't run forever. You know, now I gotta pay to see them fight, but I just saw them fight. You know, so, but I mean, of course, it's not going to make that much of a difference. But I'm a firm believer in, you know, make people wait for it. You know, delay gratification. And I think that Tommaso Ciampa putting Adam Cole through tables and they've just had this 6-man tag where the Bruiserweights fought O'Reilly and Fish, and it's like we don't really need to see these guys fight every week leading to the fight that they're going to have later. Like we cannot do that. You could do the one-on-one matches, I guess, because it's a different dynamic. And then you could swap dance partners. Like you could have Fish and O'Reilly. You could have O'Reilly versus Riddle. Then you could have Fish versus Riddle and vice versa and all that stuff. It's still too much contact. But if you absolutely have to fill up time, which they really don't, and have these guys fight each other, the one-on-one matches probably would have been the better go than to do them in 6-man tag matches and they're constantly beating up each other and constantly fighting. You know, like it seems like chaotic for TV, but for somebody like me, I'm like, okay, I'm just paying for a pinfall now because I've seen them fight each other and do all of their moves to one another. I've seen that 2 or 3 times already. You know, like it probably would have been better for Undisputed Era to not be in the Dusty Cup and for you to make up another team to put them in the Dusty Cup. But I'm going a little too far. So I think we're in the last days of Undisputed Era. It's been a good run. Hopefully they go out with a bang. Hopefully they get to stay together. So what do you guys think? Do you think the Undisputed Era is over? I think it's pretty much over. And you know, we're just limping along to Portland for Adam Cole to give the title to Ciampa, and then maybe they will do the rematch around Mania, and then that's it. Because it could be about time for the draft after that. So I think that's it. I think this is it. What do you guys think? Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.